What's good, y'all? It's your boy Jayblends back at it with another haircut tutorial. Today we're going to be doing a high taper on the temple and nape area. We're going to knock down everything on the top to a number 3 guard. So I have the Troll Clipper prototype from TPOB in this video that we're using. The clipper should be releasing, I want to say sometime this summer. The trimmer should be releasing in 3 to 5 weeks. So I did do an unboxing on that. So if you haven't checked that out, go check that out. But also on the side, we're doing a number 2. So I have that number 2 guard on there, lever closed, and we're just debulking in this area, laying down our groundwork, laying down the foundation before we actually get to the fade work on the temple and nape area. You always want to make sure that you debulk so you can see what you're fading into. It just allows you to have more visibility with what you're fading into. If you're fading into a lot of hair, sometimes you're not going to be able to have as much visibility. It's going to make things a lot more difficult. It's going to create steps that you don't need to be taking. So that's what we're doing now. So now I have that number 2 guard lever playing, and we're just opening the lever slightly, raising the fade up, opening the lever slightly, fading up until we have that all blended out alongside the ridge area. Now after we do all of our debulking, we will get to the nape taper portion of the video, and we will be using the TPOB Troll trimmer. In this video specifically is the prototype, so stay tuned for any TPOB drops that are soon to be coming. There's going to be a lot of stuff dropping this year, so I'm just excited for new clippers and new trimmers to be dropping from the TPOB brand. If you're not following TPOB, go to the thepissedoffbarber on IG and go give them a follow. You can go use my code Jayblends at thepissedoffbarber.com to save yourself 15% off any tools. But right here you can see we got the ridge blending in nicely, and now we're gonna get to our nape tape portion of the haircut. So right now we're just balding out. I like to create a I'd say like a sad face or like a V shape on an inverted V shape on the back, and by doing this it allows us to make sure that we have the sides of the edge up on the neck line darker than the interior of the blend, and it just creates more contrast and allows you to have a darker edge up around the neckline. Now after we bald out, we're gonna go ahead and this is no guard, lever open, and we're just creating a panel of hair to fade into. Now once we create our panel of hair to fade into, we're gonna go ahead and close the lever all the way, start fading up, and this is a 5-click notch system on this clipper. So by having a notch system, you can open up one notch, fade up, open up one notch, fade up, open up one notch, fade up, until you have that lever completely open. And once you have that lever completely open, that should blend out that entire panel of hair that you just created. Now by doing this, it just creates a process, and just creates, you know, some simple steps for you to make sure that you are aware of where you're at in the haircut. A lot of times it's easy to get lost, but when you have a notch system, when you have a process, it makes life so much easier. It's something less that you have to think about. Now all of this is going to be done in real time, so you can see the blend work and how long it actually takes to do a blend for myself. A lot of times, you know, haircut tutorials cut out a lot of key elements in the video that people need. But right here we have the 0.5 guard on there, lever open, and we're just creating another panel of hair to fade into. Now with this specific client, he does have a lot of indentions in his head, so you will see different areas and how I attack those differently than some other clients. So that's one thing that you want to be aware of with clients, is the different fallacies, or not so much fallacies, but different hurdles that you have to jump over to create a blend. Now right now we close the lever all the way, we're just fading up slightly, opening up the notch, fade up slightly, and we're just going to repeat this process, stacking guards until we get up to the number 2 guard. So we got to remember that the number 2 guard is on the side, so we will get from the no guard up to a number 2 guard on the nape area, just to blend everything into the bulk of the hair. Now I do start using my left hand to try to spread his skin so we can get in those dark areas where there's a lot of high density underneath the occipital bone. So by stretching out the skin, you'll be able to get an even blend, because if you don't stretch out that skin, it's just going to be a very, very dark area right there. So you want to try to alleviate that by stretching out the skin and trying to attack those areas with the corner of your blade. Now once we're done with this area, we will go to the next guard. So we go from the half guard to the 1 guard, lever open, and we're going to create another panel of hair to fade into. So you want to make sure with any haircut that you have an idea of what you're doing in your head before you actually attack the haircut, and just make sure you have some organization with your blends, with your services, because you want to make sure that you are staying true to your time limits that you do have on your haircuts. Make sure that you are on time for your schedule, and by having a process that helps with that. So now we got that one guard lever open, and we're just debulking this area before we close the lever all the way and begin to fade out these lines underneath that. Now, one thing that helps me out a lot is just being able to fade up. That's the way I've always learned. This is how we're doing this haircut. I find that a lot of different barbers have different techniques, and that's cool. Just try to get all the techniques you can from different barbers that you watch, and just try to create your own system. Not everybody's going to cut hair the same way. Not everybody's going to have the same process. Everybody's going to have different tips and tricks that you can learn and pick up and add to your specific process. So now we have that one guard on there. Like I said, we're just lever playing and just trying to get this blended as even as possible. But you can see here, it's coming out blurry. And as you look on the sides of the head, the sides of the neckline, they are darker. So that's going to help us when we get to the edge up portion of this haircut. Now, detail work is something that you have to make sure that you are doing, because detailing is what's going to separate you from other barbers. Being able to spread the skin and notice different dips and indentions in your client, and being able to maneuver and work around those things is what's going to separate you from the bulk of other barbers that may be in your area. Now we got the 1.5 guard on lever open, and we're just creating another panel of hair to fade into. And once we create that panel, we will close the lever all the way like we did with every other guard before, and we're just going to go ahead and start opening those notches notch by notch until we fade that area completely out. Now, a lot of times this 1.5 guard should be able to blend into that 2 guard, but I was having some trouble with this area right here. As you can see, it's a little bit darker because of the indentions in my client's head, but by stretching the skin, that'll alleviate all that stress for you. Now, once I got done with the 1.5 guard and I was able to blend as much as I could with that, I did have to go up to the number 2 guard just to tie in the rest of the bulk and just to make sure that we get everything even and looking nice and blurry. Now, these troll clippers are super A1. I did zero gap these. I really enjoy this clipper. It is a heavier clipper. It's more on the heavy side. So if you're comfortable with like the Andis Master or the Wall Senior, something like that, excuse me, this would be a good clipper for you to get and add to your arsenal if that is something that you're into. Now, I love the color scheme of the TPOB clippers. I love the lime green, that slime color. So you can see everything is just blending out the way that we try to get it, the way we want it to be. And a lot of times it's going to take a lot of detail work with different things that may come into different adversities that may come against you with different client head shapes. Now, that's something that you want to do before you actually get the haircut done, is in the client consultation, is look through the client's hair, try to see where different struggle spots are going to be before you actually start attacking the blend. Now, we're balding out the side here. We took off all of his sideburn, the beard line, and we'll get to the rest of the facial hair edge up later, but we're just balding out so we can create our first blend on the temple area. Now, these are the TPOB troll trimmers that we just used, and now we have the lever open all the way, creating a panel of hair to fade into. Now, the side of the head is going to be a lot easier to blend because it's a smaller section, but you want to make sure that you are just using the corners of your blade to attack this area because of the tight blend area that you have. By using the corners of your blade, you're not using the whole blade and creating more work for yourself. So a lot of times this temple area is going to be like a detailing like the whole time, because you're just, taking small strokes and you're using just a little bit of the blade to attack what you need to attack. But you can see here it's coming out nice and blurry on this side as well. This client has a very good hair texture for a taper. The gradiency in the blend comes out very beautiful. But you can see here attacking this from my corner, and then after we do that, we are going to get to that half guard lever open, create another panel of hair to fade into. And you can see here I'm creating I would say maybe about a 1/2 inch area panel of hair to fade into. We close the lever all the way, start fading up until we have the lever all the way open and fade that area out. Now, you may see some different dark areas in the side of the head, and we will get to that later. We will detail a good bit on this side, because you can see near the corner where the vertical bar and the front edge up meet, there's a very, very dark spot right there because of the indentation on my client's head. But that's nothing that we can't fix. That's nothing that we can't adjust and blend out. But now we got that one guard on there, lever open, creating another panel of hair to fade into. And then we're going to go ahead and close that lever all the way and start to just clean that up right there. So once we get done with this one guard, you already know, if you've been following my videos, what the next step is going to be. And that's going to be the 1.5 guard, lever open, creating another panel of hair to fade into on the top. Now you can see me here. You see the direction of the hair is growing kind of towards his eye and eyebrow. So you want to make sure you're taking the guard and the blade against the grain to get as even as a blend as you possibly can. And now we're just going to lever play with that 1.5 guard. And as we remember, the 2 guard is what is on the side, 3 guard on the top. And right now I'm just taking some time to detail before I get to that number 2 guard. So we got the 1 guard on there, lever playing and just detailing using the corners of our blade. And I will drop down to a 0.5 guard just to get a little bit more detail in this haircut. Now that's one thing that I really strive to do with my haircuts, is just detail and get it as blended as possible. I do set my appointment times personally for an hour slot. I like to be able to give my clients a good quality service, a good quality haircut. And you know, some people can do 20-minute fades, some people could do 30-minute fades, and I've been in that predicament before. I've been in that place before where I'm doing 30-minute haircuts, but for me, that's just a lot more stressful. And I just raised my prices and made it an hour slot, just to give my clients more time and more quality. So it's all up to you and how you want to run your business. But you can see here I'm spreading the skin and using that number 2 guard to try and blend out these dark areas. Now we got it as blended as possible with the number 2 guard. After that, we are going to get to some shear over comb, and this is a trick I learned from another barber that I used to work with. I never really did it, or never did shear over comb until he was working next to me. And that's one thing that you got to do, is learn constantly from those around you. Don't always be the big fish in a small pond. You know, try to surround yourself with people that are more experienced, that have different techniques, because you could pick up from those techniques, and those things can make your life a lot easier. So we have the TPLB thinning shears, and we're just doing a little bit of shear over comb to try to get this area blended out. So essentially, using these thinning shears over the comb is essentially like point cutting, and just helps you to clear out some highly dense areas and soften it up a little bit more than you can do with the guard. Now, what we did on the left side of my client's head, we're doing on the right side, and just keeping everything symmetrical. So one of the things that helps me out is just maintaining symmetry, is finding reference points on the client. So you see how high you take it on one side, you want to take it the same exact height on the other side with your blend. So that's what we're doing on the right side of my client right now. Got that time lapse, and once we do that, we will get to the edge up portion of this haircut. Now right now I'm doing some hairline prep. I'm using the Chizap liquid razor. This is a holding spray to keep the hair in place, and then I will throw on a little bit of hair fibers just to get that hairline to pop a little bit more for some IG pictures and some IG reels, and for this YouTube video that we're recording. I don't go too heavy at all. I just want to make sure that everything looks as natural as possible. So I let that dry while I get to the edge up portion of my client's facial hair, and we're just edging up all this, taking all that hair off his chin and the cheeks, and just making sure we get it as smooth as possible. He does just keep the goatee and the mustache, so that's what we're doing for my client here. Now these TPLB troll trimmers are absolute hitters. They in my opinion are the best TPLB product that has come out to this point. So I've used so many different clippers, trimmers, you know, you name it, I've used it, but these trimmers are my go-tos right now. So now we're just shaving all the stubble off using the TPLB Slime Mini Skull. This is a single fold shaver that helps to get in little tight areas and just completely balled out with ease. They really shave really close, really quick. They are not, you know, pulling or tugging. They just eat through that hair with ease. So now we're getting to the neckline edge up portion, and I did spray some holding spray on the back portion of the hair that I didn't get on the video, but we did the same thing we did with the front edge up on the back. No hairline fiber, no hair fibers on the back. That's just strictly his hairline. And you could see here by creating the guideline we did at the very beginning of the Nape tape, you can see how crispy I got it. So now after I edge up the neckline, I do go over it with the single foil shaver to make sure that we get it as bald as possible, to make sure that we have a very, very bald neckline. And by balding out with the shaver, it creates so much more contrast between the hairline and the skin tone, and that helps your haircut to pop even more. It gives it more gradiency. But you can see here we're edging up around the ear. That's another thing about these trimmers, is that I've used trimmers that cut behind the ear, and they slice because they're so sharp. And so, you know, this is a very sharp trimmer, but I don't ever cut anybody behind the ear with these. And I'm a very soft-handed person. I've cut people with Babyliss trimmers, I've cut people with wall trimmers, you name it. I'll zero gap something and it's gonna slice behind the ear. So, but with these ones, I zero gapped them, and they are completely safe to use on, you know, elderly folk and sensitive areas, on kids. But same thing we do to the left side, we do to the right side as well. And one thing about that single foil shaver is that you could go ahead and edge up around that ear and get it nice and bald too, right around the ear line, because the single foil is so thin, it helps to get in those tight areas. But you can see here the blend is coming out, you know, just super blurry. The gradiency on his hair is just awesome. So I was just extremely humbled to be able to have my client be able to let me record him. You know, not everybody wants you to record their haircuts and stuff, so I'm glad that my client was down for it. But right now we're attacking the front edge up portion of this hairline and just making sure that we keep everything as symmetrical as we possibly can. So shout out to Faded Culture for the hat, as you can see in the mirror back there. Go follow Faded Culture for all their merch. They got some great merch. But now we got the razor work going. We got the 245 razor holder, the triple cartridge razor holder with some Dorco Prime razor blades. And we're just detailing and finishing up this cut, making sure it's as sharp and crispy as we possibly could get it. But that'll pretty much do it for the video. I appreciate everybody for sticking through this far. Shout out to y'all for the support. But there is the after of the haircut. Thank y'all for tuning in. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, turn on your post notifications. Got plenty more videos to come. Y'all stay tuned, stay locked in, and I hope everybody has a blessed day. Until next time, God bless.